Welcome back to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew, joined once again by Steve.
Hello. Show's still great.
Yeah, and probably the most excited member of the show. Every single week, he's just cannot wait to watch a new episode, Ronan.
I could have been fishing.
Could have been. So, we're going to talk about episode 6.
Outside, touching grass.
Shut up. Episode 6, I think it's Egeria, is how it's pronounced. Again, I'm just going to hand this over to Ploticus, because there's so much shit that goes on in these episodes that I have no idea how you remember it all. I actually took notes on this one, because, so the thing with my notes on this is I'm watching these on the Blu-rays. So I was hoping that all of these episodes would have like audio commentaries and stuff, but they don't. The very first one that did was last episode where I watched the Ray Stevenson disappointing commentary. But every episode has this thing called All Roads Lead to Rome. And if you click it, it actually brings up factoids throughout the course of the episode. So,
Pretty sure Spartacus had a mode like that too, didn't it?
It might have. Yeah, it might have. I don't think I watched it with that mode, but I specifically went to this mode on this one because I was like, oh, well, let me just test this out and see what it is. And literally, like, it will tell you everything that's going on. For example, just jumping ahead, because I doubt this will come up in the actual, overview that Steve mentions. But there's, like, this red-painted woman that Niobe is, like, praying to later on. And they give no context at all as to what this...
I assume she was some like
red-painted woman,
fertility person.
Yes, so that's an actual like an avatar of a good goddess, which is associated with fidelity and forgiveness. So by that point, spoiler. By that point, Niobe's like, she realizes she's very disturbed that she cheated on Varenus and everything, and she's going for actual forgiveness, but. That woman who's just painted red, there's no context for it at all. She doesn't talk. She doesn't say anything. So if you do have the Blu-rays or I assume they're on the DVDs as well, going forward, I'm just going to keep that All Roads Go to Rome thing popping up so I can, give some additional context on some of this stuff. So I wrote down a bunch of notes that I'll get to at some point. Over to you, Ploticus.
All right. I'm going to start. I don't remember. Again, I'm going to try to talk about this in chunks because I can't remember. I can't keep track of the order everything happened. But I'm going to start with Varenus' story because his story actually sets kind of where we are in the timeline. Varenus, Niobe's sister, so Evander's wife, is living with Varenus now. Evander is dead, and Varenus goes, God, he's talking to Titus Pullo. It's like, everything sucks at home. Like, my wife won't couple with me. Her sister's been there for 2 months now. So that establishes that this episode takes place
time jump
2 months after the previous episode. So
I love his comment right there also when he's like, oh, she won't couple me. She says her sister's there and it makes her uncomfortable. What does that have to do with anything? Like, he's ready to just let the sister sit there and watch at this point. He's like, I don't
the proper Roman way, Matt. The proper Roman way. Get your, get your fat, why don't you check your privilege, all right? That's the way it should be.
Yeah, so Varenus is setting the stage for the episode. It's been 2 months. Niobe's sister has been there. What's going on with everyone else? We'll come back to Varenus because once again, his story intersects with Mark Antony's at some point. Caesar has been pursuing Pompey also for 2 months now. And things have done a complete 180. Yes, Caesar is writing to Mark Antony, and he's saying, I keep chasing Pompey from city to city. Pompey keeps fleeing, but every city he stops at, he picked up new forces that are loyal to him. And so now he's wound up with a bigger army than I have. So Mark Antony, please rally the 13th and send them to me to support me, because otherwise I'm gonna fucking die. Mark Antony, meanwhile, is he hates being in charge of Rome, but he's going to make the most of it. He's going to be just a massive fucking thunder cunt to everyone he can possibly be. And so he invites like the highest ranking senator that's left in Rome, and he tells him, "Hey, how about I make you consul?" And the senator's like, "Oh, fuck yeah, that sounds great." It's like, Mark Antony's like, let me finish. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to name you consul. You're going to name Caesar co-consul, even though he's not here. So Caesar's power is maintained, and then you're going to pass this law where I think it's something like.
You can only have so many slaves, and then you have to hire like actual Roman citizens who you have to pay.
Yes, basically, like the slaves are taking too many Roman jobs, so there's going to be if you own X amount of land in these certain industries like farming, like X amount of your jobs cannot be done by slaves. You have to actually hire Romans and pay them a proper wage. And the senator's like, that would destroy everything. That would ruin Rome's economy. And Mark Antony's like, I don't care. That's what Caesar wants. So you're gonna fucking do it. And if you die, I'm gonna fuck your wife. And the senator's like, yep. These terms are acceptable. And so
Anthony, he's so good.
So basically, Caesar is again trying to be a man of the people. He is trying to. He's trying to legitimize himself and make sure that Romans actually have jobs, they can support themselves.
He's trying to stop the foreigners from taking their jobs. All right, this man is a man of the middle class people, even though he's a billionaire. And
we're going to cut the amount of visas we give out. Essentially.
He's a solid guy, Steve. I'm just saying.
One thing about this. One of the things that popped up here is when he's talking about consul, making this guy a consul. The thing that popped up said consul was equivalent to president of the United States and the highest office in Rome. To balance their power, two consuls served together and had veto power over each other's actions. So essentially, that's when he's saying, well, Caesar's got to be co-consul with you. He's co-president, whatever. That Caesar would have veto power over this guy. But
they established that kind of stuff in the first episode because Caesar and Pompey were pro-consul or whatever.
Right, but for this particular thing, this guy, you would think, oh, well, I've got veto power over Caesar. Not really, because Caesar's got a military. So it's like, I'll kill you and fuck your wife, sort of thing.
To the people, it will look like Caesar is sharing power. Behind the scenes, everyone will know Caesar's absolutely not sharing power.
Right.
All right. So Mark Antony goes and makes this guy consul.
Oh, shit. Wait. Sorry. I'm just looking at my another note. He mentions a thing about a contio here in this sequence. He threatened because that senator was like, no, because he's initially like, I'm not kind of down for this. He doesn't want to say that immediately. And then when Mark Antony says, oh, we can have a contio, we could put it to the people, and then you could explain why you don't want to give them jobs, high-paying jobs. It actually popped up that a contio was an assembly of the people. It was an informal public meeting, and politicians tried to avoid that as much as possible because they were always heckled. So if the politician has to get up in front of the people and say, this is why I want to do it, they were constantly pelted with like tomatoes and shit like that. And so politicians were trying to avoid that at any cost, which is why this guy was like, as soon as
like town hall meetings today.
Kind of, yeah. So as soon as Mark Antony said, "Hey, well, we'll just have a contio," that's cool. You can explain your side. That's why that guy backed away so quickly.
All right. Well,
the end.
Everything that Mark Antony wanted to happen happens. He makes this guy consul. Consul immediately goes to the Senate and says, "Hey, we're going to pass this law. Any objections?" No one objects.
He does it very weakly. We offer this. Any objections to what I've just said? He's like, there's so much cracking in his voice.
Anyways,
Polo loves this, by the way. He's super happy. I just get to keep cutting Steve off. Polo loves the fact that Mark Antony's making like the Roman citizens get the jobs. Varenus not so much.
Polo would absolutely be wearing a red hat right now. As much as we love Polo, Polo is absolutely the type of person who's going to be wearing a red hat. Let's just.
I don't know, like, 'cause I feel like Caesar would actually do the things that he says.
Do you?
Yeah, but Varenus, for all of this, because Varenus is right there with Mark Antony the whole time. He's basically like Mark Antony's number one man. He's always there. Varenus, clearly, because he mentioned Cincinnatus and Marius and Gracchi and stuff like that, and those were like considered the greatest Roman leaders ever at that point. Like Cincinnatus, where we get I think Cincinnati, our town here in America, was named after him. Basically, Cincinnatus was a guy who became like a dictator, and as soon as he accomplished like what needed to be done, like winning a battle or something, he's like, okay, I resign, and I'm just going to go back to being a farmer. Like they voluntarily gave up power, and Varenus is like, Caesar's not going to voluntarily give up anything. Like, he knows where this is going, but Polo is just like, fuck yeah, American jobs, love it.
The cost of eggs, right? Baby.
All right. Well, anyways, Mark Antony currently has everything he wants. So let's talk about how his story intersects with Varenus. I'm gonna do something real stupid here in this game. Anyways, one of Pompey's men shows up in Rome and tells Mark Antony that the tides have turned. Caesar is losing the battle now. So Mark Antony, why don't I will offer you favorable terms if you just switch sides, switch allegiances. And Mark Antony's like, yeah, I'll give you my answer tomorrow. Let me think about it. And Varenus is there, and Varenus like doesn't really say much, but he's like, you fucking shitting me? Like, after all this, you're gonna
look.
You're gonna turn on Caesar. So that's how their stories intersect. Meanwhile, Varenus back home, Titus Pullo's hanging out more and more. Titus Pullo and Varenus have this scene where they go out drinking together, and Varenus is just laying.
The episode opens up with this.
All right. Well, the Varenus is he's having a heart to heart with Pullo. It's like, my wife won't couple with me. Her sister's been there for 2 months. I'm going out of my mind. I hate life. And Titus Pullo's like, I mean, what if you marked her up a little bit? Have you tried beating her?
It takes a while. You have to do it for a couple of weeks. Eventually, you beat the submission into them.
Yeah, but Varenus is like,
comfortable conversation. Like, I like the Polo character, and as soon as that happened, I was like, oh man, like, why'd they go there?
Because I was the same way. I was like, no, but I also don't know if he was being serious or not. Maybe that's a cop out to try and keep trying to like him.
I think he's laughing when he says it a little bit.
Exactly. Like, he's joking, right?
I think he was serious because he has lost all respect for Niobe now that he knows the truth.
That's also true. That is true, because he does tell Varenus to also be like, well, you're unhappy. Clearly, you should get rid of her. And he's it's in every drunken, broken up boyfriend sort of thing ever. He's like, I'll fucking kill you if you ever talk about the greatest ever. I shit myself. Yeah, he's in that mindset right now.
Yeah, he says, I would rather die than divorce her. So now Varenus has told Polo at this point that he is all in on Niobe. Like, he will not get rid of her. So now Titus Polo begins hatching a plan. It's like he wants to help his friend. He knows that getting rid of Niobe is not an option. And so he goes and starts hanging out at the Varenus residence. And
more so.
And Niobe's sister is there, still crying that her husband has been missing for 2 months, and Titus Pullo's like, I happened, I know some sketchy people, so I actually asked around to see, what's going on with your husband. Turns out he had some gambling debts, and he died, and He's like,
Spoiler.
and how about you just move on with your life and stop hanging out in
Focus on the ones who love you. And he's like, he's trying to be a human being at this point. Just try and focus and surround yourself with those who love you. Yeah, like
this comes out of nowhere for the sister there. He's just like, oh, by the way, I talked to some people. Your husband's fucking dead. Get over it, you crying stupid bitch.
Nothing you can do but move on. Like, right, Niobe? Nothing you can do but move on. And she's like, so she knows. She fully knows that that Titus Polo is in on it. And
does she know that he killed her or killed him, or just that he knows that he's dead somehow?
I think he. Oh, I don't know if she knows anything about what happened to Evander. I think at this point, like, this confirms to Niobe that Polo absolutely knows about the affair, because Niobe's friend convinced Niobe that Polo had no idea. He was too dumb to have figured it out.
Was it the friend or was it the daughter?
I don't know.
See, they're confusing.
Maybe it's not important.
I think all of them knew. I think the friend knew about the affair, and the daughter clearly knows about.
Right, but Ronan's asking which person specifically was telling.
Which character it was?
Yeah, which person specifically told Niobe that Polo was too dumb to figure it out?
I can't remember if it was the daughter.
That was the friend.
All right, I can't remember if it was the daughter or the friend. I don't know.
All right, well, Matt is telling you it's the friend. Anyways, so I think Niobe knows that Polo knows. I have no idea if Niobe's figured out that Evander was killed by Polo. Anyways, so Polo's like, yeah, how about we all just leave the past in the past? And then Polo walks away, and then he hears the sister scream, and you cut back to Niobe and the sister, and they're fighting it out. And the sister is Niobe's trying to apologize over and over and over again, and it's not working. And the sister finally tells Niobe, it's like, look, I will keep your secret, but you are fucking dead to me. Never contact me again. You'll never be a part of my life. Which is what Polo wanted, because now Niobe is free to put all of her focus on Vrenus. And so the scene that Matt was talking about with the red painted lady, I thought this was like a fertility person, because Niobe is like on her knees, like praying to this person. So that makes sense that, it's some sort of like fidelity thing. She's asking for forgiveness. But while this is going on, people are also walking by her and like putting a coin in the bowl she's holding, going, I wish for a son, I wish for a daughter, I just want a healthy baby. Like, they're all talking about children. So I don't know. Anyways, Niobe is going all in on being good to Vrenus. What am I doing here? I don't care. It's all fake money. So when Vrenus comes home later on in the episode, she's like, hey, I made you dinner. I sent the kids away to a family member's house. My sister went home. She's not coming back. You want to fuck? And Vrenus is like, yeah, I want to fuck, absolutely.
Well, I love that moment when Vrenus first walks in, and he's just like, what the fuck is going in here? Because she's got the whole meal cooked and everything. It's like, I was sitting here like, dude, when this happens, you know what your wife is sort of planning here. He's like clueless at first.
Well, Vrenus is very stupid when it comes to women. Like, that's established.
Yeah, when he comes up, whatever, she's like, I made dinner for you. He's like, I already ate. And
is he still drunk at this point, or is he still drunk at this point, or is this
he got off work? No, he got off work and he's coming back home. And then but then I love that he realizes quite quickly when the disappointment's on her face, but he's like, but I could eat some more.
Again, he's trying
to be super nice in what he said he was going to do with her.
He's making amends. He realizes that I was a dick, but this is that moment where she's like he's like, but I'll eat some more. Come on, let's sit down, let's eat. Yeah, he's putting two and two together.
We forgot to mention that when he left that morning to go to work, Niobe was talking to him about her sister, because her sister was sitting over in the corner crying, whatever, and he just very matter-of-factly, he's like, he's dead. Because he's dead. He's probably dead. Just screamed it out loud because he's so pissed that the sister's there. So he's like, he doesn't have any manners or anything, or tact in that case, but he's trying to have tact here, and he's like, Yes, honey. I will couple with you and make sweet love to you and attend your button. I will attend your button.
Attend the button.
So, anyways, they have sex. It's like this is like the second time that their relationship is like on an uptick. Like their relationship has been a roller coaster. Like it starts low, gets high, gets low again. Now it's back up to a high, and so Verinus is enjoying life right now. His wife Niobe is coupling with him again. But then you get a scene where like after they have coupled, Niobe's like, "What's wrong?" And Verinus is like, "Nothing." He doesn't want to share his feelings, but she's like, "Come on, tell me." And then he mentions that one of Pompey's people came through today and asked Mark Antony to betray Caesar, and I can tell Mark Antony is thinking about it. It's like I basically sold myself to a dishonorable man. Like I already feel like I have no honor because I invaded Rome. Now I have pledged myself to the guy that's planning on betraying the guy that we've also pledged ourselves to. Verinus is very he has no idea what to do with his career now. He hates every part of being in the military, but he doesn't have a choice. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to him. Is he gonna go fight? Is he not? Who knows? Adia is still telling Octavian, yeah, you got to be a man. You got to learn the manly arts. And so
she's singing the Macho Man song. Be a man.
You must penetrate someone today.
Yes.
I will not have anything other than that.
That was apparently got overlooked. It was a small line from the last episode, but yeah, that's part of what Titus is supposed to be doing with Octavian, teaching him how to fight, and teaching him. And here's how you fuck. And, that's supposed to be
how you attend the button, Octavian.
Yep. So she's
and now it's time for him to learn to fuck.
Octavian has been apparently ducking Titus Pullo for I guess 2 months now. Titus, they come in and say, yeah, young Octavian, Titus Pullo is waiting for it. And he's like, tell him I'm sick. And Natty is like, the fuck you're not. The fuck you're sick. No, go fuck someone right now. Bring Titus Pullo in here. Titus Pullo, give him a purse. Give him some money. Go get a hooker for Octavian. Make sure it's a pretty clean one, not like the dirty chicks that you fuck. And Pullo's like, yep. Okay, you got it. And so he takes Octavian to a brothel, and Octavian eventually picks a woman worth 100,000 million space bucks. And so Polo's like, are you fucking serious?
I could fuck all the women.
Yeah, Matt, what's the line?
Oh shit! She better fuck him like Helen of Troy's ass is on fire.
But we'll pay
the
it
thing
for
that
the
popped
young
up
master.
Is that price on the little pop-up video thing here said that was the brothel owner tells Polo what the price was is twice Polo's annual wage. That's why he's so shocked. It would take him 2 years to be able to afford this one hooker if it was just Polo.
Yeah,
but he has the money. He's like, fine, I'll pay it.
He doesn't know how to barter.
Yeah, so I still can't figure out what actually happens in this scene. Octavian is not into this whatsoever. So finally, he's the brothel master throws out 3 women and 3 guys, and Octavian's just like, I'll take the fucking middle one. And Polo's like, no, it's fine. How about you
This is a big choice, young master.
You take the entire catalog. Don't rush into this. And Octavian's like, I pick her. We're fucking doing it. And so Octavian takes her into the sexy times room and tries to make small talk, but
not the way you do it with a hooker, bro.
But yeah, she doesn't even speak the language, and he's he's actually sad for her because she says oh yeah, the Romans came to my country and took me and killed my brother and sister and basically my family. I really don't even remember where I'm from. And Octavian's like, oh, that's really sad. And but eventually he's like, well, I guess we're doing this, but it's very awkward. Like
get on your hands and knees.
Yeah, get on your hands and knees.
Assume the position.
So it's like, does he actually have sex with her? Because they don't. Thankfully, they don't actually show anything. But it's like I could see an argument where he just sat there and pretended. I don't know.
We might find out later on in the series what actually happened. We might. I'll just leave it there. I'll point out a couple other fun facts about prostitutes in ancient Rome. Prostitutes were actually called she-wolves in ancient Rome. So Polo says something about like lupia or lupiae or something, and that actually means that's the term for prostitutes, and it actually translates to she-wolves. So that's something. And all prostitutes in Rome were required to obtain certifications. So it was almost kind of like, not like you were unionized or anything, but you actually had a certificate basically stating you were great at fucking and that you're allowed to fuck people. So in most brothels, they said, stunk horribly. That's why when Polo
they smell like sticky dick? That's crazy.
Polo mentions to the brothel owner that, like, hey, this place is really clean and it smells good. You think I could get in? And she's like, fuck no. You're not going to get in on any of these girls. That was like, you could tell that was a high-end place. Not only just because the price of the girls was so high, but it was clean. And only rich people could afford the clean brothels that weren't sticky and stinky.
All right, so I think we've got the setup for everyone. We've talked about the beginning of Caesar's story, Antony's story, Vernus and Pillow. Mark Antony, let's talk about Adia again. Adia, wants to be with Mark Antony, and she
suddenly,
she invites him over, but it looks like she's gonna not go see her, or he's not going to go see her. And she's like doing that thing where it's like,
hold up, you gotta talk about what Mark Antony's doing when he's like, hey, by the way, you're supposed to go meet Adia tonight. he's fucking naked in his bed watching forcing these two naked women to be gladiators, and like one of the girls gets cut and they are terrified. Like they do not want to do this. And he goes, he like licks her wound and starts sucking on it. It's very disturbing. It's very, very disturbing.
Well, that was the thing that he was going to abandon Adia for. But he eventually goes to see Adia. But Adia's been doing this thing where it's like, when you meet someone you like, and you're like, well, do I text him now? Do I wait till tomorrow? I don't want to seem desperate, but I really want to talk to him. So she's got like her main slave, and she's like, he informs Adia that Mark Antony's not coming, and she's like, "Why? Go find out why." Wait, no! Don't tell him it was me that sent you. It's like, okay, I won't tell him. Wait, no, he'll know. Don't send anyone at all. Fuck it, I'm going to bed. So then Mark Antony shows up, and now she's got to save face. She doesn't want to come across as desperate to Mark Antony, so she very quickly has someone like clean all of the makeup off her face, and she like dresses down a bit. She's like, "Oh, Mark Antony, I forgot you were even coming over here. Give me a minute to make myself presentable." Like she's putting on a show like, "Oh, Mark Antony, you're not important to me whatsoever." Mark Antony is very important to her. And so they have sex, and then Addie is like, how about we just get married and betray Caesar together? And Mark Antony's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, yeah, think about it.
Out of nowhere.
Caesar is outmatched. He overplayed his hand. He's going to die. That leaves you back in Rome. You've got the name and, the military experience and recognition. My family has money. If we got married, we could be in charge here. And Mark Antony's like, he'd say, "Oh, I for a minute I thought you were serious," and she's like, "Oh, I'm very serious." And then he just turns and like calls her an old harpy, and then they start.
I wanted to ask you guys about this because they clearly make it seem earlier in the show, and even Vernus mentions this to Niobe, like Mark Antony is seriously going to betray Caesar. Was this all a ploy by Mark Antony to find out who actually was loyal to Caesar by simply acting like he might turn on him, because he, like, literally, as soon as she says that, he's like, all right, we're taking the 13th Legion to go help out Caesar. He's, like, shocked that she would even consider turning on her own family member. And he mentions, he's like, you want me to turn on my friend? Like, he feels completely disrespected that she would even broach this subject of him turning on his friend. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think? Do you think he was seriously contemplating turning on Caesar? Or do you think this was kind of like he was just trying to see, is someone going to be bold enough to actually try to have me basically fuck over my friend here? Like, how do you feel that all played out?
I have no idea. I was going to ask you guys, because I thought the same thing. Like, Mark Antony's very clearly thinking about
I think he was thinking about it. But I wouldn't say for sure that he was going to do it.
Why did he
was weighing his options
when Adia?
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. Like, he was weighing his options. What was it about Addie that turned him? Like, my best guess, and this is a pure guess, I have no idea, is maybe he thought, holy shit, if I've made myself someone that this awful person wants to marry, clearly I am going down the wrong path. But I have no idea. I was going to ask that same question, because this is like a 180 from where it looked like the show was headed.
I want to lean towards, this was kind of like I don't think he ever really truly was to the point where he's like, I'm going to betray Caesar, because his whole thing in the show has been friendship. Like, that's what he values highly, is friendship. And so when he's, when Varenus, because even Varenus is looking at him like, when he's like, oh, I'll get the response later. I think Varenus is initially shocked, because Varenus knows that he's friends with Caesar. So it's not only the weird thing like, oh, you're going to stab Caesar in the back now and this harms me, but I think he's also, at least I read it, Varenus was kind of like shocked he'd even be considering this. And so I think it makes more sense. Now, I don't know if this is what the intent was. There was no audio commentary or anything like that. I think the intent was he was trying to kind of say, oh, I'll think about it, and seeing how everyone around him was going to react. Like, I'd like to believe that Mark Antony, or I choose to believe that Mark Antony was never going to betray Caesar, but he was kind of acting like it just to see, okay, who are Caesar's true friends here? Because, well, he could immediately go to Caesar and be like, fucking Adia just was going to turn you in, buddy. Like, that would be bad for Adia. And so that's my take. Ronan, what's your take? Do you think he was kind of testing the waters here to see who was an ally of Caesar still in Rome? Or
I mean, I guess that because the kind of vibe that I got from it was like, yeah, it does seem like he was maybe considering it, but then he I guess she just, like, her offer just kind of put such a sour taste in his mouth that he got angry, and just because it is at that exact moment where he's like, we're mobilizing the Legion. It kind of felt like he just got a little pissed at that moment and was like,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in subsequent episodes, because I don't remember if that's brought up again.
Mark Antony gets kicked out of Adia's house. Adia is screaming to get the fuck out. So now Adia has to find allies where she can, and so she's gonna go suck up to Servilia, and so she gets like a slave guy with like a 3-foot dick, and it's like, I'm gonna send this over to Servilia with my best wishes. And Octavia, you're going to go and deliver this. And Octavia's like, are you fucking stupid? Like, Servilia knows that you're the one that put the graffiti up that caused Caesar to end his relationship with Servilia. And Addie's like, no, she doesn't know. She's just as stupid as Titus Pullo. She has no idea. And so Octavia's like, All right. And so she goes and presents the 3-foot dick slave to Cervelia. And he's like, my mother offers you this gift in the name of friendship. And Cervelia's like, oh, friendship. Yeah, okay, I get it. Cervelia immediately sees through this, just like Octavia suspected. But Octavia is so flustered. She is not confident in this moment at all. And so Cervelia is like, Octavia, you and I have always had a good relationship. I want us to continue to have a good relationship. Please come see me again. And Octavia's like, yeah, for sure. So it seems like going forward, Cervelia is going to, this is stupid. Cervelia is going to exploit Octavia's, naiveness to get back at Adia. That's what I'm expecting to happen. No idea. I want to challenge this guy, but I'm not folding. And so I think that wraps up that story. Mark Antony, after his night with Adia, is like, all right, we're fucking doing this. Rally the 13th. We're going to support Caesar, and so Varinus has to leave Niobe. She's very sad because for the second time in the series, their relationship is on the positive rebound. Varinus has to leave her. Varinus and Pullo are going with Mark Antony to support Caesar. They all get on ships to cross the sea to get to Greece. And it's raining, and Polo is like, fuck the gods. The gods are fucking stupid. I bet they won't even sink our ship, the cunts. And then their ship sinks, and that's the end of the episode.
That's like, that's not, like, Varinus is telling him, it's like, we made proper offering to
Triton.
Triton. That's it. We made proper offering to Triton. Everything will be fine. And Polo goes, if this is, my cock is so soaked and wet, if this is the best he can do, he can go fuck himself. And then their boat sinks.
Oh, I love that Varinus is like, will you shut your fucking mouth? Like, because he's like, every time he disparages the gods, things go awry. Couple things here. I'll just go ahead before we get our comments. Some of the other factoids. When Adia and Mark Antony are in bed, and I think she slaps Mark Antony, or Mark Antony then starts slapping the shit out of her. You see Atia's slave stand up with a knife, and the little factoid said that was basically a requirement. A slave was required to defend the safety of their master, and if they didn't, they would be put to death. So that's the reason why the slave stood up and pulled out the knife, and that's why Mark Antony, if he would have continued to beat up on her, then that slave would have been required to attack him with the knife and potentially kill him.
I think Mark Antony could have taken her.
Probably. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
They mentioned ice. Atia,
like
when
8
she gives
bags
out,
of ice or something like that.
When she gives out the 8-foot dong slave over to Cervelia, she's like, and also send some ice over. And the little pop-up thing said ice was actually compacted snow from the mountains near Rome and was crazy expensive. In order for them to actually get this quote-unquote ice down from the mountain and get it to people before it actually melted was like a crazy big deal. So there's that. The Penates, the gods of the pantry. So we see actually Pullo. Pullo doesn't believe in the gods, really. I mean, that's how it comes across. But he does. It's like he believes in them, but only he picks and chooses. So he's actually eating some food. We see him eating some food, and there's 2 little idols that are there, and he actually takes some of his food and hands it to him. And a portion of every Roman's meal was given to these idols, these Penates gods, to thank them sort of for their meal. The primary measure of worth for a woman was her fertility, and men were allowed to demand divorce of a woman due to infertility. Wine was the main alcoholic drink in Rome, and it was always spiced and watered down. So Varinus drank a lot of fucking wine to get himself that drunk early on in the episode. The very first thing we see is some kids, I think, in Varinus' house, and they're playing like hide and seek or whatever. That was actually a game that Roman children played. Hide and seek and leapfrog both date back to ancient Rome, and that's kind of where
they're playing it. They're playing it with the slave kid, by the way. So this slave kid that Vernus wants to sell is ingrained himself in the Vernus family now.
Yes, and that was my next point. Varenus gets super pissed off that they're basically playing with this kid, and the reason why he gets pissed off because he mentions that it's not normal or something or it's wrong. Kindness
bad for discipline.
Yes, kindness to slaves was considered a weakness as they were believed to have no spirit. Hold on, let's see what my cards are here. Okay, just fold. Because they had no spirit, Romans believed only a master's discipline could keep them in line. So, again, they didn't look at these people as actual people. They were just spiritless creatures that could only be set in order by the punishment of their Roman masters. So that's why Varenus is pissed off that his kids are playing with this slave because he's like that shouldn't be a thing. He thinks that's actually going to harm his children by potentially the lack of the spirit from the slave kind of impacting the spirits of his own children. And so those are my comments. Those are the things that I took from it. So Ronan,
two things that I remember that I forgot previously. One, Octavian gets sent to military school or something.
Not safe in the city anymore for the Julii.
Yeah, so Octavian is gone at the moment, and the actual title of this episode, which is Egeria, is that what it was? I think.
Egeria, something like that.
Egeria, that was the name of the prostitute that Octavian banged, right?
I
think.
I
think so.
Did that character get named?
I think so.
I thought so. Let me look.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't hear a name, but that doesn't mean she wasn't given one.
I feel like that was the name of the prostitute. Anyways, I think that's all I remember now. Yeah, that was her name.
No. Yes. They call her Egeria. Egeria is a figure of Roman mythology, a water nymph and sympathetic spirit to women. So the brothel owner described her as Egeria, like the water nymph, because she was so. Because they have this comment where was it Pullo was like the first girl's way too skinny, or Octavian's way too skinny, and Pullo's like, you need a woman with some meat on her. And then they go to her, and then the brothel owner says, "Oh, this is she's a beauty like Egeria, the sea nymph." And so that's the quote unquote name that's given to her.
It worked.
You were correct, Steve.
As I very often am. Anyways,
Ronan,
thoughts on the episode.
Thoughts?
This was the first real good episode. The appropriate amount of Tylus, Polo, and Varenus. It had the appropriate amount of all of that. Mark Antony being weird and scummy. It's was also amusing to just making that senator squirm. I'll make you proconsul, but you're going to do everything I tell you, and I'm going to have sex with your wife. Who I don't even really want to. It's just it's just kind of a dominance thing. I'm sorry, man. It's just gonna have to happen. This was the first episode. All right, all this is good. There are Caesar's whole plan against Pompey. It's failed spectacularly off screen. And we gave the final season of Spartacus shit for that kind of thing happening in it, where major things just kind of happened off screen or got compiled into a 30-second montage. And I would have loved to have known how it was how Caesar fucked up so royally that he went out with this massive force, and now suddenly he's completely outmanned and outgunned.
He didn't fuck up. He was just, it's every time he got there to fight the battle, Pompey just ran away.
Yeah, and considering how up until this point he has always been 1 to 2 steps ahead, in this moment he suddenly fucks up and is now 2 to 3 steps behind.
No, I don't consider that a fuck up. I consider it like, hey, it's the ancient Roman world. He can only get to a place so quickly, and when he gets there, the guy's just running away every single time.
But they established in those first few episodes that his legion moves incredibly fast because they're still like fresh from war. They're still gung ho and fresh, and that's part of why Pompey had to evacuate.
He had to get on ships and cross the Mediterranean Sea to get to Greece. I don't think this is on Caesar. I don't think that this is on Caesar. This is totally. The person keeps running away when he tries to.
Julius fucking Caesar from Spartacus would have never let this kind of shit happen.
What do you mean from Spartacus? Is the same character?
No, it's clearly not. This shows that it's not the same character.
Well, you heard it here first from Ronan. This is the first good episode of the season, season 6. Steve, do you agree with that?
No, Ronan's out of his fucking mind. But I will say that he's like this. He's using his argument for why this show is bad. It was that he wanted more of this show. So that I don't know that really tracks. This episode's great. I am hooked. Mark Anthony was great. Like, I mean, he kept me guessing. Or are you gonna turn on Caesar? Are you not? Ultimately, he didn't. And there's a multitude of reasons for that you can read into this. Was he on the fence? Was this all a ploy? I think that's fucking great. I love Veritas and Niobe's relationship. It keeps having highs and lows, and at this point, I'm like, what do I actually want to happen to these people? Like, Niobe is lying to Veritas, but it's completely justified that she lied because she legitimately thought Veritas is dead, and now they're both trying to recover this like flawed and fractured relationship. And meanwhile, Polo is there,
and she didn't.
Well, she tried, though.
Also, when she was
tried, and he cut her off.
When she was arguing with the sister, too, because, but brought up he's dead, and she's arguing with the sister. I laid with him, but I never loved him. It's the whole fertility thing. It's like, if you had been able to, and then she stops herself. It's not even. She didn't.
Forgot to mention that's a big deal. That's where that fact came from. That fertility was the most important thing, and she throws that right back in the sister's face. If you could have given him a baby, and she's like, So it wasn't even that she was doing that. She did it because she thought Veritas was. Well, that might have played into the mindset, but it was never done with any actual affection. It seemed like he got a little too attached to her afterwards. Yeah, but it was done clear. There was no from her end. She said there was no love involved in it. Yeah, and when I say that she had the opportunity to tell him, it was that scene or a couple episodes back when Veritas basically takes Polo's advice and says you got to apologize to her and stuff. It was when Veritas is like, hey, look, let's just start over. And she, at that moment, was about to say something. He's like, what? You can tell me. Like, what bad thing? Because she's like, oh, something horrible has happened.
I've sinned.
Or I've sinned. Whatever. He was like, what? He's like, what? And she chose not to tell him right then and there.
No, she was working up to it, and then he cut her off by saying, the past is the past.
And then she could have said...
Easy out. Took the easy out instead of owning up.
This is funny, because if you look on Reddit, there's a lot of threads of people who hate Niobe. Like, they hate her character.
Oh, no, I fully disagree with that.
And they're like... Well, they blame her because they're like, wait a minute, you lied. You're constantly lying to him. When he got back from the war, you were a total bitch to him about all of this stuff. But it was like, none of this stuff that has happened, according to Redditors, is the fault of Veritas. It's everything happened because Niobe made all these stupid decisions and is hiding all of it and is lying about all of this stuff. So everything that happened with her sister, Niobe's fault. Everything that happens, that will end up happening, Niobe's fault. And so a lot of people don't like that character at all.
Disagree. I would be on their side if Niobe knew she was cheating on Veritas, but the Roman government told her that he was dead and stopped paying her his military wage. She had she fucked over her sister 100%. But as far as Varenus, she had no idea what she was doing, and Varenus is allowed to kill her if she tells the truth. So
all of these are important factors too.
But Evander is dead because she did not spill the beans of what actually kind of happened.
It's at this point it's either her or him, and he might have joined too. I'm going to cut her some slack here. Yeah, she's in a bad environment. Yeah, she's maybe 1/6 of a person by Roman standards. Yeah, I feel like she was doing what she needed to do. I'm more on Steve's side with this. Were mistakes made? Yes. Is she a bad person? No.
Okay, well, leave a comment, folks. Let us know. Are you on Niobe's side?
To the like button. Sound off in the comment section.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Is Niobe the true villain of the series?
Going all in blind on this next hand.
Or you're a Reddit incel. Let us know. Are you Reddit incels, or are you on me and Steve's side?
Yeah, Niobe is flawed. She is not history's greatest villain.
Yeah, I like the Niobe character as well. I think she's a cool. Knowing how the story ends, it's well, I won't get there since you guys don't know. But yeah, this episode again, great. Steve, I'm so glad that you are enjoying this show.
Which is the proper response to the show.
Yeah, for years I was like, "Hey man, Rome, this is a cool show. I'm glad you're liking it." I'm sad that Ronan is not digging it as much as he should. But hopefully episode 6
had the proper amount of Titus and Varenus. So they're getting there. It took them 6 episodes, but they know they understand what I want now. So we'll see.
Hopefully this is your springboard. And next week, folks, we will be talking about Pharsalus, which is a very famous battle from ancient Rome. So maybe we will finally be getting some fighting. We're going to see what happens when Mark Antony arrives with whatever's left of the 13th Legion in Greece. And now we're going all in. I never actually busted
no whammies.
This entire recording session, which is crazy. Okay, folks, pay very close attention.
No whammies.
26,000. Wow, 11,000, 6.2.
It's not a bad.
Oh,
a 5,
oh,
8.
Jesus.
Oh.
Okay, I need 3s and 7s.
It's just us?
Yep.
Yeah.
3s and 7s. Okay, got a 7.
God damn it, Steve.
Come on, 7. More 7s.
God damn it.
Come on. No whammies. Yes.
Oh, fucking A.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Twos.
All is as it should be. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks for episode 7. Ronan has an incorrect opinion. The end. Bye.